Welcome back everybody, it's me, Hershey's with the Z. If you've been trying out different servers lately and are trying to get really good at them in a short amount of time, well, you've come to the right place. In this video, I'll be explaining all the tips and strategies you need to know on how to improve and have success in the CubeCraft survival games. Please like, subscribe, and enjoy. Tip number 1. If you're wandering around the map and you happen to see a player with little to no armor, follow them and hunt them down. Just follow in their footsteps slowly until they bend over to open a chest or they stop to clean out their inventory. But make sure that you have the required protection, because if you don't, that player could potentially kill you. So before you start attacking them or start following them, check your armor and its durability, and also your sword durability. That'll be important for when you kill them. What's also good about doing this is that you're limiting the player population and giving you one less player to defeat in the end. Tip number 2. If you ever get caught in the storm while playing, which I assure you will happen a lot, make sure you look through your inventory for a tracking compass, which you could have obtained from opening either a chest or killing another player. And if you do happen to have one of these in your inventory, point yourself towards where the compass points red. And so what this is doing is that you're pointing yourself towards the nearest player, and you're also assuming that that player isn't in the storm with you and is instead somewhere off in the distance, pointing towards the correct direction. But if that's not the case, then you're screwed. But if that's not true, then just sprint towards that direction before you start taking too much damage. Tip number 3. If you happen to have flint and steel that you got from somewhere, then keep it in your hotbar, because this can be really helpful when it comes to defending yourself as well as attacking somebody. And what I mean by this is that when you catch somebody on fire, it's basically a deterrent telling them, oh, maybe I shouldn't mess with you because I'm on fire and I could potentially die because this fire is causing damage per second to me. So if you were caught on fire, would you want to attack somebody, or would you rather want to retreat and heal up instead of dying? That's a clear answer. So whenever you can, keep this in your hotbar so you can quickly use it on somebody else. Tip number 4. You might know this or you might not, but in the beginning of a game, you're given the option to pick 1 out of 3 kits. And from what I've seen out of these kits is that picking the chef kit is one of the best options to go with. And you might be asking why I would choose this. Well, not only does it come with a wooden sword, but it comes with 3 pieces of steak. From first glance, this doesn't seem like a good deal or an option, but it's actually really good, especially when you're like sprinting from someone or you're just running around in general and you have to fill up those food bars. And you'll find them in chests a lot of the times, but just to be sure, you're just securing yourself 3 steak. And also, if you don't get any type of weapon in the beginning of a match, you know that you have a wooden sword there, just in case. I'm not saying you have to use it, but just in case you don't get a weapon, you have the wooden sword. And personally, I don't really care about the kits, to be honest, but knowing that you get better items from the starter chests. But if you do pick a chest, just go with the chef kit. It has much better items. Tip number 5. When attacking somebody, try to find cover first before you do it. What I mean by this is try to find structures around your map, like buildings, rocks, just big structures. And what this is doing is that when you're attacking somebody, it's giving you the element of surprise, and so that your opponent won't see you coming. And I don't also mean this, but you can also just hide behind some sort of big structure and crouch. Because what this is doing, it's making it so that the other player can't see your name tag, making you virtually invisible. So just wait for them to pass by, boom, you surprise them, kill them, get that done with. So just whenever hunting somebody down or trying to get some more kills, just find structure and use that to your advantage. Tip number 6. In the beginning of a match, try to look through multiple chests if you can. Because if you shift click fast enough, in the end you'll be able to collect multiple items, and some are really important. This is due to the fact that most players will only choose a certain amount of items, and not all, and they'll just forget to pick a few because they're in such a rush to get out and away from danger that they'll actually miss, and they'll actually leave some really important stuff like diamonds that you can craft into a sword or some really good armor. So make sure, just check around a few of the chests once you're done, but if they're all empty, just proceed to going to the edges of the map. But always look for spare items because some can be really important. Tip number 7. If you're ever in a combat situation with another player and you happen to have a bow, try to use it as effectively as possible. So basically, if that player is charging at you straight out of the blue, just straight up running at you with a sword, if you have that distance between yourself and that player, you can take out your bow and you can get up to four shots with that bow, dealing lots of damage to that player. And even if they have lots of armor, this is giving you a huge advantage. You could have leather armor, they could have iron, and if you get up to 4 or 5 shots, that makes the battle evener, and that gives you an actual chance. So if you're ever low on armor, this strategy can help you so much. But depending on how good your bow skills are, just try to get at least 3 shots, and that'll help you a lot in the end. Tip number 8. In the beginning of a match, there's going to be players all around you opening chests and sorting through the loot. But what you have to do is keep an eye out for players that look a little bit new, or people who haven't obtained great items in the beginning of a match and they hang back, because up to 2 to 3 people actually stay behind in the middle after everyone gets their items. So if that's the case, stay back and equip your armor and equip your swords. And if there's people that have no armor or they have no armor at all, then kill them one by one. That's just giving you some extra kills and again limiting the player population, making it a lot easier for you in the end. And this will happen a lot of the times because most players are actually new to these servers and don't know anything about them. So try to find these types of people. Tip number 9. Every game you're going to collect tons on tons of stuff, and it's the most annoying thing ever. So to dispose of these items, you're going to need a way to do it safely, right? So there are ways that you can do this. The first way is find some sort of tree that's climbable, or some sort of way to get to the top in a high place, preferably in a high spot where no one usually is. I'm talking rocks, or if you can, buildings, or even the side of a mountainside, which turns out to be really good in some situations because most players don't usually go that far out. And this is going to take a few minutes or so because of how many items you've accumulated over time. So be patient, but at the same time, you have to keep an eye out for these players. So try to stay somewhere high, as well as somewhere far away from the middle of the match, and just dispose the items as you do. Tip number 10. You might have realized this already, or you might have not, but there are some chests scattered around the map. Only a few of them. However, they do look exactly the same as the ones you'll usually find around the map. However, these chests contain better items such as diamonds, better armor, as well as better swords and weapons. These chests you can usually find them somewhere high, like in a rock sculpture that's really tall, or in a tree that's really tall as well. Just in higher elevations you'll find these chests. So keep an eye out because sometimes you might be able to locate these and get some really good items out of them. However, these chests are kind of hard to get to. You'll have to do some little bit of parkour. But if you can manage that, then you'll get a really good reward in the end. This is the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed it, learned a thing or two, and just remember, if you want to get better, just keep practicing. You'll get better eventually. Thanks for watching, and remember, like and subscribe if you want more content.